So I have this theory about the Sunday scaries.
Huh?
You know that
Oh,
feeling?
yeah. Dreading Monday morning. I think we all know that one.
Right, but I'm not talking about the work version. I think there's a specific homeowner version of it.
Yeah.
It's like you're walking up your driveway, maybe with groceries, or you're just sitting in the living room and the sun hits the window at just the right angle.
And suddenly your home stops feeling like a sanctuary and starts looking like a to-do list.
A to-do list, exactly. You see that landscape of smudges on the glass instead of the trees outside. Or you glance up at the roof and realize it's starting to look a little fuzzy.
It's the invisible to-do list suddenly becoming very, very visible.
Yeah, and it's this visual noise that just screams, you have work to do.
It's entropy winning. Nature is slowly, quietly trying to reclaim your biggest investment.
That is a terrifying way to put it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what we're unpacking today. We're looking at a whole stack of material on exterior home maintenance, focused on a company out of Washington called Kelian Cleaning Services.
Right.
And I want to be really clear from the start. The mission here is not to, give you tips on how to use a squeegee.
Please no.
We're diving into the why. We're trying to figure out if professional cleaning is just about, I don't know, vanity, or if it's a legitimate financial strategy.
Because the argument in this source material is that we need to stop thinking of this as cleaning.
And start thinking of it as what?
Asset protection. That's the key shift here. We're going to frame this around two main pillars: protecting your home's value and enhancing curb appeal.
Okay, I like that. So looking at what Kelian offers, it looks like there are three main buckets. Professional window cleaning, something called luxury glass care,
Yeah.
and the big one for the Pacific Northwest, roof moss removal.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start with the windows because I feel like that's where most of us are the most uh, delusional.
Delusional. How so?
Well, I just think it's glass, it's solid. If it gets dirty, I wipe it off. Why would I need a whole professional strategy for something that's just transparent?
That's the misconception. We think glass is this perfectly smooth, impermeable shield. But if you put it under a powerful microscope, it's not smooth at all. It's a landscape of peaks and valleys.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me that glass is, it's rough.
On a microscopic level, yes, it's porous. Think of it less like a sheet of ice and more like a very, very hard sponge.
A hard sponge? Okay, that's a disturbing image for a window.
It is, but it explains so much. When rain falls, especially in a place like Washington, it's not pure water. It's grabbing dust, pollen, minerals,
The gunk in the air.
all the gunk. And when that cocktail dries on your window, those contaminants settle into the pores of the glass.
So the dirt isn't just sitting on top of the glass.
No,
Yeah.
it's literally moving in. And this is where the chemistry gets dangerous, especially with hard water. The minerals, like calcium and magnesium, get left behind.
Right.
You add UV radiation from the sun, and a chemical reaction starts. The minerals literally bond with the glass.
Is that what causes those hazy white spots you can never seem to scrape off?
That's it, exactly. It's called etching. At that point, it's not a stain anymore. It's physical corrosion. The glass is actually being eaten away.
So when Kilian talks about professional window cleaning, they're not just making it look nice. They're actually performing preventative medicine for your windows.
They're interrupting that chemical process.
Yeah.
And that's why how you clean it matters so much.
Yeah. Can I ask, when you decide to clean your windows, what's your go-to method?
Oh, it's the classic. A roll of paper towels and a bottle of that blue spray stuff.
And how does that usually turn out?
It's awful. It's streaky, and I swear it looks dusty again like 2 days later. I just figured I was bad at it.
It's not you. It's the physics of the paper towel.
The physics of the paper towel. Okay, you have to explain that.
When you rub a dry paper towel on glass, you generate a ton of static electricity. You're building up a static charge right on the window's surface.
Okay.
So even if you wipe the dirt away, you've turned your window into a magnet. It immediately starts pulling dust particles right out of the air and sticking them to the glass. So I'm doing all that work just to create a dust magnet on my house. That's incredibly demotivating.
It is. That's why pros like Kelian use a totally different approach. They use something called pure water technology.
What does that mean?
They filter the water, running it through reverse osmosis and deionization systems until it has absolutely zero minerals in it.
Deionization.
So now the water is unbalanced, it's hungry, it wants to bond with things. So when they scrub the glass with it, the water itself aggressively pulls the dirt and minerals out of the pores.
So the water is the cleaning agent.
Often, yeah. They rinse with it. And because it has zero dissolved solids, it dries perfectly clear. No streaks, no static.
That's fascinating. You're using chemistry to fight chemistry. And I guess that connects directly to the whole curb appeal thing.
It's night and day. And it's not just about what the neighbors see. There's this concept called daylighting. When you remove that microscopic film of grime, you dramatically increase the amount of natural light that enters your home.
It's like switching your house from standard definition to high definition.
It is. The rooms feel bigger, the colors pop. There are actual studies that show more natural light improves your mood. So you're not just protecting an asset, you're literally upgrading your quality of life inside the home.
I really like that framing. Okay, let's move from the windows to something a little more specialized. The materials mentioned luxury glass care.
Yes, this is a very specific, very important niche.
When I first read that, I was thinking, crystal palaces.
Yeah.
But the list is more about things like skylights, glass railings, big chandeliers.
The architectural jewels of a home.
Right. And I feel like everyone has at least one of those. That one fixture that's way up high or super delicate that you just pretend isn't getting dirty.
Because it's terrifying to clean.
Yeah.
It's a risk-reward calculation. You look at a complex crystal chandelier and you think, if I touch that, I might break it. Or worse, I might fall. So you just leave it.
And then it just collects dust until it looks like something out of a haunted house.
Exactly. And that's a direct hit to your home's value. You paid for that feature to be a sparkling focal point. If it's coated in a layer of gray dust and cooking grease.
Wait, cooking grease on a chandelier?
Oh, absolutely. In an open concept home, vaporized oils from cooking rise and drift. They stick to the crystals, then dust sticks to the oil, and you get this gummy film that you can't just dust off.
That sounds awful and impossible to clean without really scrubbing.
Which is the risk. If you use the wrong chemical on a high-end fixture, say something with ammonia, you could strip the iridescent coating right off the crystals.
You burn the jewel.
You burn the jewel. Or you put a little too much pressure on a glass railing panel and it cracks. Now you're in a world of pain trying to get a replacement.
So this luxury glass care is really just an insurance policy against your own clumsiness.
And a restoration service. A professional team knows which solvents are safe. They have the right ladders, the right scaffolding to get to a high skylight without putting a hole in your drywall.
The safety aspect feels like a huge unspoken part of this. The idea of me balancing on a ladder trying to wipe a skylight. That is a hard pass.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Ladder falls are a leading cause of ER visits for homeowners. The return on investment for hiring a pro isn't just a clean fixture, it's staying out of the hospital.
Stay out of the hospital. Now that's a marketing slogan. Okay, speaking of staying off ladders, we have to go up to the roof.
The big one.
This is the big one, especially in Washington. The moss. The green plague, as you called it.
Mm-hmm.
But can I play devil's advocate for a second? Because you hear people say this. They say, oh, I kind of like the moss. It gives the house character, a rustic look. Is it really just about aesthetics?
No. And this might be the single most important takeaway from our whole deep dive today.
Yeah.
Moss is not a cosmetic issue. It is a biological attack on your home's structure.
A biological attack. Okay, unpack that for me. How does a fuzzy little plant do that much damage?
Moss doesn't have roots like a tree. It has these little structures called rhizoids. Think of them as microscopic anchors.
Rhizoids. Got it.
And on an asphalt shingle, those rhizoids dig in and latch onto the mineral granules, that gritty stuff on the surface.
And that grit is important, right? It's not just for looks.
It's the shingle's armor. It blocks UV rays. Without it, the sun bakes the asphalt, it becomes brittle, it cracks, and it fails. The moss rhizoids pry those granules loose.
So the moss is basically stripping the roof's sunscreen off.
It's stripping the armor off, yes. But then it gets worse. As the moss thickens, it forms a clump that can physically lift the edge of the shingle up.
Breaking the seal.
You got it. It breaks the seal. Now, wind-driven rain can get underneath the shingle, and water under the shingle means
Rot. Leaks. Mold in your attic. Okay, that is terrifying. And what about this sponge effect mentioned in the notes?
This is key for the Pacific Northwest climate.
Right.
A roof is designed to shed water and dry out quickly. Moss is a sponge. It soaks up rainwater and just holds it there against the shingle for days, maybe even weeks.
So it's like leaving a wet towel on a hardwood floor.
That is the perfect analogy. That constant moisture saturation just accelerates the decay of the roofing materials.
Yeah.
A roof that should have lasted you 30 years might fail in 15 if it has a serious moss problem.
So paying a company like Kelian to remove the moss isn't a cleaning expense. You're buying years of life for your roof.
You are deferring a $20,000 roof replacement. It's just simple math at that point.
Okay, the why is crystal clear. Kill the moss. But what about the how? Because I've seen those videos online, the ones with the power washer,
Oh, no.
and they just blast the moss into another dimension. It looks so satisfying.
Please stop watching those videos. Using a high-pressure washer on an asphalt roof is one of the most destructive things you can do to it.
But why? It gets the moss off.
It gets the moss off, but remember those granules? The armor?
Yeah.
A pressure washer strips them right off along with the moss. You might have a clean-looking roof for a year, but you just aged it by a decade in an afternoon. You've probably voided the warranty, too.
So power washing is a definite no. And what do the pros do then?
They use a method called soft washing.
Soft washing.
Exactly. It uses very low pressure, like garden hose strength, but the secret is the solution they apply. It's a specialized biocide that kills the moss, the algae, everything, right down to the root level.
So it's chemical warfare, not kinetic.
Precisely. It kills the organism so the rhizoids release their grip. Then it can be gently brushed or rinsed away without damaging the shingle. Plus, the treatment leaves behind an inhibitor that helps prevent new growth.
That feels like such a critical difference. It's treating the problem, not just blasting away the symptom.
It is. And again, back to safety. Walking on a dry roof is dangerous enough. Walking on a roof covered in wet, slimy moss is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, that's a no for me.
The pros have the harnesses, the ropes, the training. This is one of those areas where the risk of DIY just doesn't make any sense.
So if we pull back and look at all three of these services, the windows, the luxury glass, the roof, the common thread here seems to be prevention.
That's the word. It's all about shifting from a reactive mindset to a proactive one.
Which is hard for people. We're wired to fix something only when it's obviously broken.
We are. We wait for the leak before we think about the roof. But the data is clear. Maintenance is always cheaper than repair.
It's like changing the oil in your car so you don't have to replace the entire engine.
That's it, exactly. Professional window cleaning prevents permanent etching. Luxury glass care prevents breakage. Roof moss removal prevents catastrophic rot. You're spending a little now to save a lot later.
And you're also buying back that feeling we talked about at the very beginning, the feeling of making that invisible to-do list just disappear.
The psychological benefit is absolutely real. There's a low-grade stress that comes from living in a home that feels like it's degrading. When you pull in the driveway and the roof is crisp and the windows are sparkling, the house feels solid. It feels managed.
It feels like a sanctuary again, not a project.
And that lets you relax. You can just enjoy the space instead of constantly making a mental list of all the things that are going wrong.
I love that. So for anyone listening right now who's maybe staring at a smudge on their window or can see that little patch of green on the roof, what's the final word?
The final word is don't wait until the damage is done. If you can see the moss from the ground, its rhizoids are already digging in. If your windows look hazy even after you clean them, the etching process may have already started.
So call in the pros.
Call a service like Kelian. Let them handle the chemistry, the heights, the risk. Treat your home like the incredibly valuable asset it is. Don't let entropy win.
Don't let entropy win. I am definitely putting that on a t-shirt. This has been way deeper than I expected for a conversation about cleaning. I'm looking at my own house very differently now.
As you should.
Before we wrap, is there one last thought you want to leave everyone with? Something for them to mull over?
I think so. We've talked a lot about protecting the house from the elements, but I'd flip that around. Think for a moment about how much your house protects you from the elements.
That's a good point. It takes a beating so we don't have to.
Right. It stands out there in the wind and the rain and the sun, keeping you safe and warm and dry. So maybe try not to see maintenance as a chore. Think of it as a form of gratitude. You're taking care of the thing that takes care of you. It's a reciprocal relationship.
I really like that perspective. Show a little gratitude for the roof over your head by getting the moss off it.
Precisely.
Well, thank you. This was fantastic. Thanks for walking us through the science and strategy here.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thanks for diving deep with us. Now step away from the paper towels, please stay off the roof, and we'll catch you on the next one.